Yeah, my name's Tim Dewey-Mattia. I'm the Recycling and Public Education Manager at Napa Recycling Waste Services. We're a hauler, recycler, and composter in Napa, California. I think there's a lot of reasons why I do this, but I think number one is just for the environment and for people's health, safety, and the future for everyone. Yeah, the partnerships are really key. And I mean, it starts, so our partnership is we're the hauler and the recycler and the composter for Napa, and we work really closely with our jurisdictions. Our jurisdiction owns our facility, we operate it, so it's already a partnership just from the get-go. And obviously, to have successful programs, you need to have buy-in from the local businesses, residents, and from kind of the compost, folks who purchase compost in the end markets. But I think really the key as well, especially with compostable products, which are just a little bit more complex than our other feedstocks like food scraps and yard trimmings, is really having the partnerships and the dialogue with those BPI certified producers of these products, really to get the right products in the marketplace and to figure out ways to successfully compost them. Kind of one of the great things about our partnership is we all kind of work together to kind of push the envelope. And I think that's been really important. Obviously, historically in the Bay Area, like that's been not just for composting, but a lot of different social environmental movements. It's a collaboration with kind of everyone working together. And so we work with our, local government partners and our community, right, our concerned customers to kind of really try to figure out how these things work. I mean, we have customers really savvy. They know about compostable products. They've been around for, several decades and want to be able to get them successfully composted. That's important. Same with our businesses that are, working in our service area. And so, I mean, there's coming from everyone. It's coming from a place of we want to make more compost. We want to divert more material from landfill. So I think everyone has that similar goal. And that's a good place to start. And we kind of take it from that good foundation and figure out how things work. Not to say that it's 100% everybody's in agreement all the time on these things, right? But it kind of is a good place to start. We're all kind of in it like with good faith. And I think that's something really we appreciate in particular here in Northern California, which we're lucky that we have that. This is like an ingrained like aspect of how we operate as a company. But it's not to say that that can't happen other places too. It's just something that we're really comfortable doing. So contamination is a huge issue for us, and obviously conventional plastic is the number one enemy there. So I think any way we can reduce our conventional plastic in our compost and increase the amount of food scraps and other compostables that we can get to make good compost, that's what we're looking for. So first and foremost, like how do we find alternatives to conventional plastic? Compostable products provide that opportunity in a lot of cases. I mean, the liner bags is a really kind of obvious and important example. So we really leverage the use of certified compostable bags, especially for commercial customers and commercial kitchens who can't have, there's nowhere for them to wash their bins out inside their kitchens. I mean, that's really been an important part of our goal with the commercial program. And then just as we work towards increasing participation, it's an ongoing endeavor for us with residential customers, giving them that tool that they know that they can use a compostable liner to kind of reduce the ick factor. And so that's really a core. And then really just looking at other ways, obviously looking to reduce, reuse, and recycle and compost. And how does, when you go out, you see a non-recyclable, non-reusable, non-compostable product, how do we figure out a kind of alternative to that out there in the marketplace? And I think there's always good to have an option that's certified compostable, right? Because there's a lot of weird lookalikes out there. I think the certification is really critical. Yeah, municipal level partnerships play a huge role because really that's where the collection and composting happens, right? It happens, everything's localized. We don't send our, compostable material overseas like we do with, some of our recyclables. It all happens in a fairly local area. And it's a good story to tell when you can kind of make that happen. So that's where if we can really crack that nut and we can talk to folks and give the experience from our local communities, that kind of gives like coherent, like actual real examples of how things can work. And the flip side, of course, is like when things aren't working, then we have really kind of very specific examples about all the things that aren't working that we can use as well. And I think that helps us as we kind of chart a way forward when we're looking for solutions to some of the issues that we have, is like, look what we think, look what's happened in the past, look what we think will happen in the past, kind of depending on if things go in the right direction or the wrong direction. We're really fortunate that we have a recycling facility and a composting facility right next to each other. So as we're out there collecting material in our community and bringing the recyclable and the compostable material to our facility, we kind of see this whole path. And then we see the issues in both places. And I think with packaging, we have gotten a really interesting sense about what's the packaging that works in recycling and what's the packaging that doesn't. And that's a huge point right now, where a lot of the packaging, whether single-use packaging, foodware, that is ending up in our recycling facility is not recyclable and is causing problems. And so I think with that lens, we look at, some of that packaging will need to go away. Styrofoam, some of the plastic film, some of it has a compostable alternative that we know exists, and maybe that is a solution for that product to get it out of the recycling stream and into the composting stream, and that kind of solves a little bit of our problems in both places, because the problems are similar. There's lack of proper labeling, there's different products out there that look similarly, and all these things, and so it ties in together. And then the flip side is, right, some of the stuff that ends up in our compost, right, we know that could be probably more appropriate in the recycling. So we get to kind of see both sides of it and sort of see the bigger picture as we look towards kind of diverting material from landfill, like what's more appropriate, recycling or composting. I mean, making compost is an optimistic endeavor. I think that's the thing, is like we're looking at reducing greenhouse gas emissions and adding nutrients back into the soil. So the story of composting is really the thing that is really positive and keeps us going. And I think that's somewhat just starting. Like, it's still new for a lot of folks, even in Northern California. It's a new concept for a lot of people, and just across the nation, across the world, it's like this is coming, and I think it's going to get better. Let's make sure we figure out how to do it right. But I think making compost, diverting organic material from the landfill back into our soils is the thing that really drives all of it.